Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, February 25th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London. In Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL Instant Mail address is CATEX-TV. Too late for this edition, actually, but we've only seen it reported from MarketWatch. Apparently, Chairman Bernanke has suggested an investigation of Goldman Sachs in connection with the derivative instruments purchased by the Greek government to, how shall we say, camouflage their debt 2 years ago. We haven't been able to find this anywhere else, but this could be a pretty interesting scenario. Well, we'll go to our main news. The main news is the economy again. In the United States, the number of people filing for first-time unemployment claims rose by 22,000. It's all the way up to 496,000. So the jobless claims in states now have risen in 6 of the first 8 weeks in 2010. This is a sharp contrast from the big drops in the final months of 2009. However, durable good orders in the United States jumped 3% during the month of January, up to about $176 billion, mainly due to higher bookings for civilian airplanes, translation Boeing. The 3% orders were the biggest gain since last July. Economists have been looking for a gain of only 1.5%. The stock market is unimpressed. It's down about 172 points after a 90-point gain yesterday. Well, we'll go to our main insurance story, actually. This is coming from our friend Jonathan Rest, based in London with Insurance Day. He has this, nobody else does. We'll quote from it liberally. Omega Insurance Holdings warned Invesco 2 months ago that Invesco's lack of transparency in attempting a boardroom coup would threaten Omega's financial rating and antagonize American regulators. Insurance Day revealed that Omega's directors told Invesco back in December that if they did not provide more details of how Invesco would be run after the boardroom changes, regulatory concerns would be raised. Omega said that it had gone so far as to support the board appointments of Mr. Coleman, James Bryce, and Robin Spencer-Arscott, who are all Invesco appointees, so long as Omega also had 3 representatives. Omega said that that move would have ensured a balanced boardroom and presumably would have ducked any further regulatory scrutiny. According to an Omega insider, the warning signs were made clear by Omega to Invesco and to Mr. Coleman back in December what would happen if the planned packing of the board occurred. We've seen with the AM Best decision, which was the one to put Omega's ratings on a negative outlook, that Omega's concerns were well-founded. Now, there's a hearing scheduled in Delaware, which is the domiciliary regulator of Omega US. That's going to focus on issues pertaining to company control. That's on March 10th. Because Invesco owns more than 10% of Omega, Delaware law construes that Invesco controls Omega. However, Invesco was granted a disclaimer of control by the Delaware Insurance Department on the basis that it did not have representation on Omega's board. With Invesco seeking to put its 6 nominees on the board if approved 2 days later on March 12th at a special general meeting of Omega shareholders, the Delaware Insurance Department has called the public hearing to consider that disclaimer. It's possible, says Omega, that other states which have approved Omega US may also take similar action in response to the passing of the resolutions. Now, keep in mind what's happening here. The information that was given to Jonathan Rest came from an Omega insider who is presumably somebody quite against the planned takeover by the Invesco directors. However, this is a very serious accusation. There's no other way to phrase it. The stock value of Omega has been affected by these background maneuverings, and now that you have a ratings change put into effect by AM Best, presumably reinsurance pricing is also going to decrease because the quality of the paper is lower. So this might have been the biggest hand grenade lobbed into the pit so far on this topic. And the 2-day gap between the March 12th special general shareholder meeting, which presumably will result in the Omega shareholders taking their seats, and the 2-day earlier meeting with the Delaware Insurance Department examining whether or not the waiver should be maintained is going to be quite a considerable focus point. The New York superintendent was in the news, James Rinn. He was speaking at a luncheon the other day in Manhattan. He said that Lloyd's of London officials are helping to advise New York regulators on their attempt to revive the New York Insurance Exchange. Mr. Rinn said that the exchange would be a Lloyd's of London-style marketplace for insurance buyers and capital providers. He said, I don't want to misspeak to say that we're going to get a Lloyd's of London up and running tomorrow. We would start very incrementally. He said Lloyd's officials are helping the department in its efforts to revive the exchange and are serving on working groups to investigate various aspects of the exchange. Rinn said that he met with officials at Lloyd's last week, and he said that the New York Insurance Exchange could be the most technologically advanced platform anywhere for insurance buyers. The superintendent said, I came back feeling much more confident that even just the technological part of this will provide something for the industry they don't have anywhere else. I think if we make the New York Insurance Exchange the most technologically advanced platform, we'll provide something to the industry that's just not provided right now in Lloyd's. Presumably, Mr. Rinn saw a number of Lloyd's brokers trundling huge stacks of binders around. Mr. Rinn stated several times in the luncheon that the insurance exchange in New York would not compete with Lloyd's. He said that the New York Exchange could provide coverage for emerging risks such as climate change, nanotechnology, pandemics, and cybersecurity, because New York is home to many experts in those fields. He also said that the exchange could become a niche market for certain types of reinsurance risk and other excess and surplus lines in the U.S. He said that would be something that Lloyd's of London doesn't necessarily provide. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. Allianz from Munich has come up with some numbers. They have posted a net income of 4.34 billion euros for 2009 compared to having lost 2.18 billion in 2008. However, pre-tax income from operations dropped 2.6%. Net income did go up all the way up to 4.78 billion. A big improvement in life and health was seen. It was up 396%. That was a little bit offset by a 37% drop in P&C net income. They say that they're looking forward to relatively similar results for 2010. However, a 1 percentage point change in the combined ratio, they emphasize, could have a 400 million euro impact on operating profit. Our friend John Berger from Harbor Point was in the news. He was speaking in the old library at Lloyd's in front of a conference with the Institute of London. He said that Bermuda, Zurich, and Ireland remain the best and most attractive insurance domiciles. He said, however, it's the quality of the people in the company rather than the place where it's domiciled that determines whether or not it's going to be successful. He said that he insisted that Bermuda remains the best domicile for companies operating in the insurance and reinsurance industries when compared with other popular places such as Ireland and Switzerland. He said Bermuda's the best because it has no corporate tax and no individual tax. If you're domiciled in the U.S. or the UK, you're disadvantaged because the tax benefit will win out in time. These three areas, Berger continued, will continue to be attractive, and it's no surprise that's where everybody's going. Berger then went on to use this analogy. He referred to the various domiciles around the world as mousetraps and said there are plenty around, but, quote, the differing quality of cheese that can be found on them is what makes them stand out. I'm quoting from him. In Bermuda, we have great cheese. It's very expensive, but it's very good. In Ireland, the cheese is very good, and in Switzerland, too. American cheese is the worst. There's been a strong earthquake down in Nicaragua last night. It was a 5.6 on the Richter scale. It struck at about 9:15 p.m. local time last night. It was located about 70 miles southwest of the capital of Managua. No reports of any damage or injuries. And then just this morning, about 2 hours ago, up in Alaska near the Canadian border, there was a 4.1, hence the red square there. No reports of any damage or injuries there. At the Blair House right now, which is across the street from the White House, the president is gathered for a 4-hour health care debate. It's being televised live on most American cable